Hi everyone, it's Tanya Kraus here, and you are joining me for an episode of Let's Talk Horses. This series we are answering viewer questions, and the one I've got today is about a needle shy horse. And so the question was basically how to deal with a horse that is vet/needle shy. So as with any training question, the first thing I want to address is, if you're looking for, if you've got the vet at your place right now and you're like Googling how to, this isn't the video for you. This isn't a quick, this is what to do if your horse won't accept a needle from the vet while the vet is there. This is a training process. And what I'm hoping to share is training processes that preserve the horse's curiosity and are as kind as they possibly can be. So for some people, they might not want to, take the time that this method is going to take. This is definitely for those people who have the time, the patience, and the desire to communicate with their horse and try and have their horse as involved in the process as whatever. I'm not the type of person that's going to share with you ways to just get it done and get the horse to accept what it is that we're doing to it. I'm not, that's this, you can stop and go to a different, different video now. So, as with anything, what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is step away from the situation and assess the situation from the horse's perspective and from a detailed perspective. So the first thing that I need to consider is, when it comes to working with my horse in any capacity about anything, are the 5 senses. So smell, touch, taste, hear, and see are my horses and my own 5 senses. And so I always like to have a look at a situation, each individual situation, and recognize which senses are going to be involved in that situation. So for example, if we're talking about spraying fly spray on a horse, we've got a visual, spray bottle that the horse can see coming towards the horse. We've got a sensitivity because the spray is going to land on our horse's skin. We all know how sensitive they are, that they can feel a little tiny fly land on them. And so that, the product landing on their skin is going to cause a sensation. It's going to have a funny smell because most of the time fly spray is some kind of chemical. And even if it's natural, it's going to have some kind of smell. And there's a sound involved with the ch-ch-ch as it comes out of the bottle. So it's going to tap into 4 of the 5 senses, the last sense remaining being taste, which, as we all know, once there's product in the air, there's probably going to be an element of taste, but it's not high on my list in terms of there's nothing I can really do to avoid that. But I want to have it on my radar. I want to be aware of that situation. So the next thing that I want to do is take a look at the vet needle situation and understand what elements are within that vet situation. And I want to have a look at what, how each of the 5 senses relate to each of the elements of the vet visit, right? So the first thing that we've got in a vet visit is that, there's a stranger. So the vet, basically. So we've got the vet, maybe we've got a vet nurse. I know that when my vet comes, there's 2 people at all times. So there's a vet and there's a vet nurse. So, and then there's me, the owner. So we've got a horse in a situation where there's now 3 people around the horse doing things with the horse. Whereas when we're grooming and riding and doing things like that, it's usually one-on-one. So the first thing I want to look at is that there's more than one person at the time. The second thing that I want to have a look at is, that my horse is going to be halted, and my horse is probably going to be halted in an area that is maybe confined. I hope that you are conscious of your and your vet's safety when you've got vet visits. So I'm going to guess that the horse is going to be confined. I don't love doing vet visits in small yards, obviously, because I want my vet to be able to move. But certainly the horse is not in a paddock where other horses are going to come up. They're not in a situation where if they move around that they're going to run into a barbed wire fence or a car or something like that, or onto the road. You know, I want my area to be safe and secure, and that's not what this video is about, but you know, I thought I'd throw it in there. So I want to think, what's the area that my horse is going to be in? So, you know, if I'm going to take every element of this vet visit and try and recreate it to help my horse feel confidence in the vet visit, then I have to recreate it at all levels, okay? So my horse is going to be haltered. My horse is going to have at least 2, if not 3 people, 2 of which are fairly strangers to the horse, unknown people to the horse. And my horse is going to be in an area where where I'm holding him for the vet. So it's going to be in a particular location. Then I've got to have a look at when my vet is there, what sort of senses, what that involves. So there's going to be, my vet is going to smell a certain way, obviously just in terms of a human being with their own shampoos and deodorants and things like that, but also they might smell like other horses. They might smell like chemicals. They might smell like, they might be dressed in a certain way with protective gear. They're potentially, probably going to have gloves on. They might have a safety goggles on. They might have other equipment. My vet, when they come, they're doing dental. So they're going to have dental equipment. There's going to be a bucket of, disinfectant wash. They're going to smell like maybe iodine or something like that. So you can see how this situation where we're focused on my horse, I haven't even mentioned the needle, have I? It's been 7 minutes. I'm describing this situation with your horse, and I haven't even mentioned the bit that he actually has the problem with, the needle, right? So the other thing I need to consider is the body position that we use. Again, when I'm grooming my horse, I'm in a nice quiet body position. I'm just picking up his feet. I'm all casual. Maybe when the vet's there, I'm a little bit elevated. Maybe when the vet's there, obviously my horse is getting needled, especially if my horse is wary of needles, I'm going to be a little bit tense. I'm going to be a little bit elevated. I'm going to be a little bit worried. My body position is going to be different because and this is a big one, and this is something that those of you that might have trouble with your horses being wormed, my body position is potentially going to be two-handed. Most of the time when we're working with our horse, even if we're grooming, we're normally grooming with one hand. We're not sort of securing the halter with one hand and then doing something with the other hand. So I find that a lot of horses, as soon as you get two-handed, they start to go, oh, something's up, because it normally means worming or, medication or something is happening that they don't really love, okay? So I want to get my horse very okay with that two-handed situation happening. So I'm just going to have a sip of tea. So as you can see, with this vet visit, and again, I haven't yet mentioned the needle, there's certain elements that I can do to help my horse be comfortable. The way I look at all of these situations is the more comfortable I can get my horse with the individual elements of a process, the more that whole process is going to trigger my horse less, okay? So if we think about all of those elements that I just spoke about, okay? So my horse is halted, he's been removed from the paddock, he's in a particular area, he's going to have strangers around, there's going to be different smells, there's going to be, different sensitivity, as in the people are going to be wearing gloves, that sort of thing. I can take each one of those elements and maybe start saying, well, usually when I catch my horse for the vet, I do take it to maybe area that is not usually where I groom or something like that. Normally maybe you deal with the vet in the round pen because it offers enough space for the horse to sort of, and the people to move around if there's a situation, but it's still enclosed or whatever. So I can start to take my horse to that round pen or to that area and maybe just have a grooming session so he doesn't just associate that area with something negative that's going to happen, like shoeing or my vet or whatever. Take the horse to that area and go, look, we might just be doing a groom here and going back to the paddock. If my horse gets worried about leaving the paddock and getting separation anxiety, I'm going to have a buddy horse there while the vet's there. Don't expect the horse to deal with a stressful situation and add more stress to it by having the buddy horse, having the horses away at a distance. This is something that's going to keep your vets safe, and it's something I had to do recently. My mare is normally super chill. She's a sensitive mare, but she had hurt her eye, so I had her in the backyard with another horse, away from the herd, but she was dealing with that pretty well. But then when I took her out, and then we had the vet and the vet nurse, and then we're trying to stick her with a needle, and all of these layers, she got to the point where she said, you know what, I'm out, I can't deal with this, and she really started turning it on, and it can be quite dangerous. And so I said to the vets, hold on, I'll go get the other horse. We'll put the other horse right next to her here in another yard. So the other horse was safe, but she was right there, and that helped to bring her down a little bit and keep her calm. Okay, so you want to set all of these things up for success when it comes to your horse. I want to work on that body position. I want to work on that, two-handed body position. I want to work on perhaps the element of strangers not always being someone negative. It's not always going to be someone who's going to do something like stick my horse with a needle. So again, you might not have the availability, but maybe you've got some friends or family members that you can say, hey, can you just come out and be a stranger near my horse? Can you just sort of come and sometimes we think, oh yeah, my horse is fine with strangers, but the strangers are standing 2 or 3 meters away. You've got to remember that in this vet situation, normally you're holding the horse, you've got the vet there trying to do something with your horse, and then you've got the vet nurse there that's trying to maybe hand things to the... So everyone's in really close proximity to the horse, and that can start to elevate him as well. So we need to, again, try and recreate that situation where my horse is okay with there being like 2 or 3 people around him doing things that aren't necessarily negative, but just that level of energy with those multiple people. Then we want to start thinking about the smells and the senses that are involved here. So again, the gloves, wear rubber gloves and do things with your horse so your horse doesn't automatically attribute rubber gloves to negative things. Sometimes, they're really smart about linking things together. Rubber gloves means negative. More than one person means negative. 2 hands up near the halter, negative, etc., etc. So think about all the elements and start replacing those negative associations with something positive. Maybe put some rubber gloves on, 2-handed, little bit of a rub, give your horse a treat if you want to give it a treat. You don't have to give it a treat if you're not a treat trainer. I'm not a treat trainer, but I will use them in certain circumstances. And depending on whether your horse is super stressed about the needle situation. And again, we want to introduce these elements slowly. So I don't want you to, go get your horse, put him in this strange place, get 2 strangers, get rubber gloves, get something that smells, and do it all at once. Because that's just going to shoot your horse, into that elevated state. You want to make sure that he can come out of the paddock and go to that strange area, have a bit of a groom, go back to the paddock. Go to the paddock, out of the paddock, maybe deal with 2 people, etc., etc. As I said at the start of this video, this is a long process, but it's the way that it's going to help keep you and your horse comfortable and confident through the whole process. So then you want to start introducing maybe a smell, okay? So you've got your horse used to strangers, you've got him out of the paddock, you've got him in the location where the vet comes, you've got him used to the gloves, he seems to be okay with that. So let's introduce, maybe wash your hands with some iodine or introduce some kind of chemical odd smell. Again, horses don't like those kind of smells because they're highly sensitive to smells. They use smells to determine whether they're safe in an environment. So a chemical smell is not only going to cause your horse to think, whoa, I'm unsafe, but it's going to mask his ability to smell other things, and he is not going to like that. It's going to make him feel unsafe. So again, introducing, the kind of smells that I mean that are going to be associated by your vet. So once you've got all of those elements in place, where you've got your horse coming out of the paddock, he's able to have your 2 hands on him, he's able to have you wearing gloves, he's able to have maybe a second or third person there, he's able to be okay and calm when there's a chemical smell around. Now we can start working on the needle. And you might be watching this going, oh, for God's sake, get to the needle point, Tanya, because my horse is fine with all of that. Great. We've now arrived at the place where you can start the training. But what I'm saying is, don't ignore all the red flags where your horse is like, I'm not okay, I'm not okay, I'm not okay, I'm not okay, I'm not okay. And then you go needle and he goes, I'm really not okay. And you go, oh, he doesn't like needles. No. He didn't like the smell. He didn't like the gloves. He didn't like the heaps of people. He didn't like the way you were holding the halter. He didn't like... Can you see what I'm saying? You've got to deal with all of that stuff first. I used to have a client's horse that was terrified of needles, like to the point of rearing and striking and things like that. And she used to say to me, he can tell when I'm coming out of the house, because her anxiety, the yards were near the house. She said I would come out the front door with that needle and that horse would immediately tense up and look at me, and I knew that he knew that I was coming out there with a needle, And so we've got to understand that our trepidation about it is going to give that red flag to the horse, okay? So once you've dealt with all of that stuff, then we can start working with the needle. And what I like to do is, again, I break it down, and you can see that I'm a big advocate of breaking things down. The first thing I'll do is actually start working with a toothpick. Okay, so again, you have to first get your horse used to that two-handed situation, with you sort of up at two-handed situation. And what you can do is replicate, what the vet is going to do with the needle, which is, if it's an intramuscular needle, they're going to find that triangle where it's intramuscular. They might do a little pinch. So I would get my horse okay with doing the little pinch. Okay, and my 2 hands being up there, little pinch, good horse, little pinch, good horse, little pinch, good horse. If it's intravenous, they're going to put their thumb on that vein and they're going to try and, get the vein up, right? So again, it's that two-handed situation. You might find as soon as you go like this to your horse's neck that they're like, oh, I know what's coming, you're going to put a needle in my neck. So don't underestimate the value of getting your horse okay with you just having that, your 2 hands around that neck area, either for the intramuscular little pinch, or I know a lot of people, my husband goes, the bang, bang, needle in. So get your horse used to the bang, 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 needle in, bang, bang, needle in, because it's normally on that first bang that the horse goes, oh, I know what's coming, yeah? They're masters of knowing what happens before what's going to happen happens. So they know, as soon as that vet turns up, and they've got the chemical smell and the rubber gloves and strangers, your horse is already saying, I know I'm not going to like this. So you've got to get them through all that. So you've got your 2 hands, you've got your pinch happening, you've got your IV thumb happening, the horse is all good. You might replicate the swab. The vet's going to do a little swab to clean the area. So get yourself some iodine, or get yourself some of that alcohol rubs. Use the alcohol rub. Who cares if it costs a little bit of money, or use something that's going to make a little smell. It's going to feel cool on the horse's neck, like alcohol feels cool. It's not the same as water. Get the horse used to that, but do it without the smell and the sensitivity first. Then maybe do it with a cotton pad and water. Then introduce the alcohol. Can you see how we're layering all of the information so the horse just isn't overwhelmed with all the information? Then I'm going to start working with a toothpick, okay? Because a toothpick has the little sharp bit on it, but it's not a needle. You're not going to stab yourself. You're not going to accidentally stab your horse, that sort of thing. You've got all this stuff working. We do that thumb, little prick, walk away. Big release, yeah? Thumb, pinch, little prick, walk away. That might be it for the first day. And then every day, if you just work on that little pinch, you'll get to the point, and I know some of you are probably going, this woman is crazy. I'm not going to spend all this time. Well, don't. And keep having a horse that's mental, or Go get a trainer that's going to teach you how to shut him down and make him just stand there and go, okay, do whatever you want to me. I don't want to do that to my horses, and that's okay. And if you don't want to go through this whole winded process and you'd rather give him a little smack and say, fucking stand there while I do this, then that's okay too. That's your prerogative. But what I'm trying to share is the way that I want to do it so my horse actually has a bit of a choice. Okay, so if you're getting annoyed, if you're 20 minutes in and you're getting frustrated, I don't know why you're still watching. Anyway, then I'm going to work with my toothpick, and then I can do it every day. Once I've got to like past all of that, and you might say, oh, this is a bit of a waste. So, you know, those rubber gloves that vets use, the disposable gloves, are a little bit different to rubber gloves that you're going to buy in, you know, the supermarket. But get yourself a pair of rubber gloves from the supermarket. They're still going to smell rubbery and they're going to feel rubbery. Get yourself a bottle of some kind of alcohol solution, probably Isocol. Isocol would be a great one from Coles. $2 for gloves, you know, $5 for Isocol, and get yourself a toothpick and a little cotton pad and have your little kit there. And then every time you go near your horse, you can go swab, prick with your gloves on, you know, swab, prick, good horse, walk away. Swab, prick, good horse, walk away. And trust me, that horse will eventually get to the point, if you do all the work and do the timing properly, your horse will get to the point where he's like, oh, what of it? And then you can do it every day until he's really like not bothered about it. And then you can just do it maybe once a week, where you just walk up and go, are you still cool with this? Are you still cool with this? And like I say, he's already getting the sensation. Like the toothpick is the sensation, isn't it? The toothpick's already like freaking him and stuff like that. So I hope this helps, and I really look forward to your comments for those that are going to do it, that are going to try it. I really look forward to your comments and your success stories. So thanks so much for watching.